Welcome to another episode of Supernatural Review. So, this is one of my very first reviews on Supernatural. Hope you enjoy. But before we get into it, please subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment. Do you agree with what I'm saying in here? Do you disagree? Just leave your thoughts. And please share this video and help me grow. Thank you. So, Supernatural Season 15, Episode 10. We're on the halfway point, boys. We're on the halfway point. So it's a little bit sad, it's a little bit joyous that Supernatural's back, but at the same time, we're one step closer to the end. The literal end. For God's sake. For Chuck's sake. So, what we have in episode 10, it's kind of it's not a mythology episode, it's more of a, I wouldn't call it filler, I would call it more so just a funny comedic episode. Where basically we come and we start off with seeing that Sam's overcooking his food, he's sneezing, he has a cold in the bunker. We see that Dean is trying to purchase some food, beer, the whole 9 yards, and the credit card that he tried to use was denied. And we also see that he got a parking ticket. Now when they return to the bunker, they discuss this round of bad luck and assume that it's not just your ordinary normal people bad luck situation, something is going on. But before they can expand on that, we get a call from Garth. Dean says, "Hey Garth." Garth says, "Hi Dean, it's Garth," which is hilarious. Garth, he's a national treasure of Supernatural. Anyways, Garth needs help with something. So on the way there, the boys are discussing the fact that maybe Chuck is making their life unlucky for whatever reason, or maybe it's one of the things that they brought back from Rowena's office, that maybe they're cursed. We don't know. But on their way, they 10 miles away from the house, or so, however many miles it was, Dean's car breaks down, which kind of makes sense. You know, if you think about it, one of the things that always bothered me is that how is this car, the Chevrolet Impala from 1967, still running till this day? That thing must have like 500,000 miles. It's been 60 years. It made no sense how this car kept going. You know, at some point he would have had to replace the engine or something, I don't know. And we kind of see the result of that when the boys are not the main characters and they get all this bad luck. Their car breaks down, they get a dose of reality. You know, I have a 2016 Nissan, and that sometimes gets issue. I used to have, before that I had a Chevrolet, and it's much, you know, it was much younger than his car, and it would also get messed up. So Garth welcomes the boys in, and we find out that Garth has 2 sons. They're twins. One of the name is Sam, and comedically enough, Dean is saying, "So I assume the other's name is," and Garth's like, "Castiel," and Dean has this hilarious look on his face, as he usually does. And from there we learn that also that Dean has cavities, Sam has a cold, Garth's wife has the perfect remedy for Sam's cold, and we find out that Garth got a certification in dentistry, and he handles mostly werewolf cases, but he does help Dean with all 17 of his cavities. Afterwards, Garth and his wife find out that the boys pissed off God, and that God is real, and that basically the boys were the main characters of God's story, and that Garth is realizes he's probably a supporting character, special guest star, and he doesn't mind that role. He feels that being a hero sucks. You know, there are moments, you know, like you get your victory, but on the way there everything sucks. Your parents die in an alley, Batman reference right there, and basically we're under the assumption now that Chuck basically took away the main character status of the boys, which basically means that plot armor is gone, supposedly. So they're basically normal. They don't have their, and as a result they suck at doing everything. They suck at hunting, they suck at being efficient and as what they're supposed to be good at. Anyways, from upstairs, so basically there's like an underground monster fighting cage ring for money in the dark web, and Beth, which is Garth's wife, her cousin, werewolf cousin, we see him fighting some type of wraith in the beginning, and basically he was injured, but he somehow lived, and he was upstairs. So he woke up, the boys went up there to request where did he fight, so they can help him out, and Sam gives him his puppy dog eyes, and usually that would work, but because they're not the main characters no more, It did not, and the werewolf guy said basically, does that work for you all the time? And Sam just gives him a look. But Beth, brings them back, and they find out where the location of the place is, and they head over there. Garth offers to come and help, but the boys say they'll take care of it. They still got it, they're the Winchesters, blah blah blah. And Dean enters the building with Sam, finishing off like 7 grilled cheese. Now normally, I've always questioned this as well. How can Dean consume so much food and not have any negative consequences? Here we find out that without Chuck's plot armor, Dean does have negative consequences. He runs to the toilet and throws up all that food he ate. And meanwhile, off screen, Sam is captured out of nowhere, and they're both put in a cage. Again, this is something that you would not expect from everyday Joe monsters when the boys have killed angels and demons, but they're not the main characters no more, supposedly. So they're captured and put into prison, and they're going to be forced to fight this huge vampire dude by the fight organizer. But before that can happen, Garth comes sneakily in and saves the boys, and they try to make their way out. And before they left, apparently Garth had planted a bomb, which he exploded on the outside and killed all the monsters. But somehow the vampire guy survives, and they fight the boys. And hilariously enough, the boys try to fist fight the vampire, and they get destroyed over and over, and it's like a comedic fight routine. But then out of nowhere, Garth kills the vampire with a sword, and basically saying, "You got Garth," and that basically ends that. And basically they say they took care of the underground monsters, and Garth gives them some information that basically he heard that somewhere in Alaska or whatever, there's this place that can increase your luck. And so the boys basically have their next mission to try to increase their luck and improve their situation. So there wasn't much mythology in this episode. It was a good, heartfelt, comedic episode. At times it was a little bit slow, but you can't. And again, like one of my long-term criticisms of Supernatural or under Dab is that everything just feels too bright. I miss the old look of the show, the uniqueness, the cultish, the American, a cultish type of folklore or whatever, that the early seasons had. I miss that. That definitely does impact the viewing of the show. But at the same time, it was a good episode. It was hilarious. The acting was good. It was comedic. I love Garth. And I just wish we just have more drag and depth and more mythology. I think I'm gonna make a theory video in the future about Supernatural, thinking about how I think it's going to end, and also just some of my own thoughts on some of the story development that we've gotten under Dab with Chuck, and so forth. So this episode from me gets a let's say out of 10 points. Out of 10, this episode gets 6 out of 10. Like I said, there wasn't much mythology. I felt it was slow at times. I felt the story could definitely be stronger. It was a fun episode. It was hilarious. It had Garth, which is why I got a 6. If it had a bit more, I feel, in terms of the writing, in terms of some of the dialogue, in terms of some of the pacing, I think it would definitely been a strong 8, but it's 6. 6 out of 8 for season 15, episode 10. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Please like, subscribe, share, leave your comments, your thoughts on Supernatural, anything on this, and please support the channel. Help me grow. Bye bye.